Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Content Workshop where we talk content in depth. Today, I am joined by Mittens, a longtime friend. She is a streamer full time as well as a content creator. And today, we're just going to talk about her story. Hello, Mittens. How are you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
Not too bad. I'm glad you could join us finally. Me and you've been bouncing around trying to get this settled when we could finally talk. So I'm
For
really
sure.
happy to be able to talk because I'm pretty sure out of all the streamers I know, especially full time ones, I think I've known you the longest. So
Yeah.
I was very happy to be able to do this podcast with you. But yeah, just to start off, Mittens, if you want to introduce yourself and kind of give a little bit of background of how you got into gaming and things like that, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. So I'm Mittens. I have been gaming for pretty much as long as I can remember. I think my first game was Duck Hunt on the original Super Nintendo. My
Mm-hmm.
brother and I used to play it like all the time. We played like Super Mario Brothers. We played Sonic on my dad's Sega Dreamcast. Eventually got an N64, got a PlayStation, and kind of went from there. So my parents got me a PC when I was around 11, I guess, and I kind of dabbled in some MMOs here and there. I played Age of Conan, Warhammer Online, DCU Online, and didn't really get into the competitive side of gaming until I got a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit of background. When I went to college, I started working three jobs. I was working three jobs to kind of keep myself in school, kind of keep myself afloat, keep the debt down like as long as I could. Um, and I was taking a bunch of classes and stuff. So I just really didn't have time for it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of fell by the wayside. And fast forward a few years later, I graduate college. I take a job with a tech consulting firm, and they ended up moving me up to Ohio for a few years to kind of do some projects up there.
Okay.
So for a few months while I was there, I was just kind of renovating the house. I was, because I bought the house, right, and I
Mm-hmm.
was, trying to renovate it and make sure that it was in a place to sell whenever I was done with it. And at some point, I think it was that first New Year's, I had some friends come and stay with me,
Mm-hmm.
and my friend's girlfriend was like super into Overwatch at the time because I think it had just come out. And so she was like, "Hey, this is this really cool game. You should check it out." And I was like, "Okay, fine, whatever." So we downloaded it for my PS4, and I was watching her play it, and I was like, "Wow, like this game's kind of cool."
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I kind of got into it. And so once they left, I picked it up a little bit in PS4. And after a couple of weeks, I was like, okay, I really like this game. This is
Mm-hmm.
really, really fun. So I'm the kind of person that when I find something that I really like, I dive into it. I'm like, looking up YouTube videos, I'm looking at the subreddits, like trying to learn everything that I can, how to,
Mm-hmm.
get better at the game and stuff like that. And that's kind of what brought me to Twitch ultimately, because I had never heard of it before.
Mm-hmm.
So, through all of my Googling, all of my research, I came across this Twitch channel of a professional player. And, I was quietly lurking at first, kind of trying to get, a feel of the atmosphere there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and eventually I just felt comfortable, starting to ask questions and, getting involved in the community. I joined that was the first Discord that I ever joined,
Okay.
was the one in that community. And so, yeah, it was kind of a cool thing because, I was alone in Ohio. I had no friends. I had no family.
Mm-hmm.
It was me working on my house for months and then, nothing. So it was a really good way for me to socialize. Even if it wasn't in person, it was really, important for me to have that like human connection with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've always been, a very social person. I've always, wanted to be an entertainer for as long as I can remember. I was singing in every chorus that I could possibly find ever
Yeah.
since I was a little kid. I did dance, I did music theater and stuff like that. So it was a good outlet for me to be able to not feel like so lonely in a place where I had no one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I got involved in that community. I started playing with a lot of the people from that community, getting better, improving at the game. And eventually, I forget who it was, but someone just mentioned to me like, "Hey, you're pretty funny, you're pretty energetic, entertaining, like why don't you try streaming?"
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Huh, okay."
Yeah.
So yeah, that April, it was about 2.5 years ago, almost God, almost 3 years ago now, that
Mhm.
I did my first stream. And, a few of my friends from that community came by and supported me. And, I think within a week, I hit affiliate. Within a month, I was averaging like, 10, 15 viewers, which for me like, was so exciting.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, these people are here, like hang out with me and I can play video games at the same time. Like this is the best thing ever.
Mhm.
It was just like a dream come true. And unfortunately, I could only do it part time because I had a full time job and I was still like renovating the house and doing other stuff on the side. But, a few months passed by. I was still getting that 15, 20 viewer average, and it was cool. I was just hanging up with my friends. I wasn't taking it super seriously.
Mhm.
And then a game called Lawbreakers came out, which I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I remember Lawbreakers. Yeah.
Yeah. So for people that don't know what Lawbreakers was, it was the greatest FPS that failed ever. It was really fun. It was very fast paced. So whenever that came out, I like dove into that one, because I was starting to get kind of bored of Overwatch, and
Mhm.
like God, I played it, so much. Like I played it probably 40 to 50 hours a week,
Mhm.
and at that point, there's a little bit of burnout, obviously, that naturally comes with that. So I started with Lawbreakers. I started streaming Lawbreakers, and my viewership went from 15, 20 to 60 plus, like
Mhm.
instantly. Because it was a little known game, but the people that did know about it were very passionate about it. And there are
Mhm.
a lot of them that were trying to, find streamers to watch. And I happened to be like pretty decent at it. So that I was like, wow, that was my first taste of like, a little bit of success on the platform,
Mhm.
which, kind of got addicting. I was like, oh, this is really neat. I have
Yeah.
like a lot more people that are coming into my chat. I had a lot more people joining my Discord, being active. And like, I felt like I was finally starting to develop my own community, my own like group of people that
Mhm.
were there to like interact with me and, support each other. And it was just kind of like that aha moment. Like, I could really do this.
Yeah.
So around the same time, Destiny 2 beta got released. So I was kind of splitting my time between Overwatch, Destiny 2, Lawbreakers, mostly Lawbreakers because that's kind of where my success was at the time.
Mhm.
And then unfortunately, the game died. Right?
Yeah,
Uh,
that game went down really fast.
it was the most tragic thing I think I've ever seen in gaming. So yeah, that game died, and I kind of had to, go back to my Overwatch, my Destiny, which dropped me back to like, that 15, 20 viewer range. And I was like,
Mhm.
damn, that really sucks. It was kind of discouraging, but at the same time, I was still doing it for fun and doing it with my friends. And so it didn't really, bother me a whole lot.
Mhm.
So, fast forward a few months, I'm starting to get tired of, Overwatch. I'm starting to get tired of Destiny because at the time there was no content in Destiny 2. There
No,
was there
yeah,
was
it was really young.
it was so dry. So like you want to love a game, right? But you've
Mhm.
done everything there is to do and now you're like, well, what next?
Yeah.
So then I found an MMO called Black Desert Online,
Yep.
and BDO is, well, for me, very addicting.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, so I played that for a while. My viewership shot up again, kind of around that 40, 50 range. And I played it day in, day out, but eventually I hit a wall where you can't progress. So for people that don't know, Black Desert Online, it's a Korean MMO. And if you don't know, Korean MMOs typically have a very pay to win system
Mhm.
to them. So the base campaign, amazing. I would recommend it to anybody. But once you get past that base campaign, once you start to try and get to the more, I guess, competitive like power levels,
Mhm.
it becomes very pay to win or very grindy, and the return on your investment of time ends up not being worth it.
Yeah, I was
So,
gonna say BDO, like it's almost on the level of like WoW Classic when it comes to
yes.
like how much you actually have to put in to do well. It's actually insane, to be
It's
honest.
it's actually fucking crazy. So yeah, I ended up dropping that eventually, and at the time, Destiny 2 had just launched Forsaken, their new Forsaken campaign.
Mhm.
which I was really hesitant about because, like I said, I played Destiny 2 from beta all the way through, I think, the Warmind campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to stretch out the content as much as I could, but there's nothing there. There's nothing there left
Yeah.
to do.
Yep.
It was frustrating.
Yeah, I remember us having
So
conversations about it a little bit. Like you're trying
yeah,
to think of new things to do. And I could tell in your streams too, you were like, you're a lot more happier with the game now than you were like a year ago or a couple years ago for sure.
yeah, the game now is in such a like much better state than
Mm-hmm.
it has ever been. So I was really hesitant to try Forsaken, and someone just convinced me to do it. And so I reinstalled Destiny 2. I booted it up, and I was hooked again
Mm-hmm.
within a day or two because Forsaken is hands down, I think, the best content drop that Destiny 2 has put out
Mm-hmm.
thus far. So yeah, so I started streaming Destiny 2 full time, and my viewership kind of just steadily started increasing.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point, I got active in the community through like Glad and Chevy,
Mm-hmm.
and I joined a Discord where they were trying to help people in the community, not necessarily Destiny 2, but a lot of us were kind of maining that game.
Mm-hmm.
But Glad put together this whole effort to try and put the spotlight on other streamers in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And so I joined this Discord and I played with him and Chevy one day. And then after that, my stream just exploded from there.
Mm-hmm.
I was going from 50, 60 people to over 100, like overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really overwhelming for me. Um, but it was also just really cool and like humbling
Yeah.
because someone like for people that don't like, Glad is probably the biggest SC2 streamer in the category.
Mm-hmm.
Chevy is also one of the bigger ones. They're both like the most incredibly humble, generous, like just nice people I think
Mm-hmm.
that I've ever met. So to be able to, spend an afternoon with them and hang out with them, and they're actively like trying to, get people like me exposure,
Mm-hmm.
it was just like such a cool experience for me.
Yeah, that's got to be different too, because like Destiny 2 is a huge game and it's really big streaming now, but I think that's kind of actually growing the last year. But at the time, like
Mhm.
they could have done that the whole other way. Like they already own the category, especially Glad, like owns the category. So
Yeah,
like you have an up and coming streamer who's possibly taking away, like if you think about it in a pessimistic light, like taking away
right.
some of his viewership, maybe his subs or what have you. Like he easily could have like tried to like stay away from you as much as possible, or like people do that in streaming all the time. Like they try to get
Yeah.
ahead. So he easily could have done that. So it speaks something to the community that guys have, that he wanted to promote you, which is really nice.
Yeah, well, he's just like an awesome person. He and
Mm-hmm.
Chevy both are just like, I can't say enough. They're so like kind and generous and like just the most genuine people that I think
Mm-hmm.
I've ever met, especially in that community. And the Destiny 2 community in general is just really cool and supportive. Like I was pretty deep into the Overwatch community. I was pretty deep into the BDO community, and this, not to like speak ill of any of those streamers, but they're
No.
just,
Yeah.
they look after themselves. They do what they need to do for themselves, which is fine. But,
Yeah.
there's no sense of community like as a whole in the category.
Mm-hmm.
So with Destiny 2, I feel that sense of community within the entire category. Like all those streamers know each other. We all tend to try and play with each other, every so often. Like
Mm-hmm.
I look in not only my Discord, but multiple other people's Discords to see who is live. And I try to pick people that, are smaller streamers, but I know are trying to grind and,
Mm-hmm.
host them whenever I'm done.
Yeah.
I actively make sure that I try to support, smaller streamers because someone gave me that chance and I
Mm-hmm.
want to be able to like pass that on.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing that you about your stream that I'm sure you're probably going to talk about, I just haven't got to it yet, is like one thing that you've done that I haven't seen a lot of streamers do is you almost provide like a service to people
Hmm.
through like the raid helps and the queues and stuff like that. I haven't like gone in, I actually haven't gone in depth with you on like that process of how you do it. But for anyone who doesn't know, maybe you can go over it more too. Is Mittens like will help other people who are trying to get a raid done or trying to do a certain objective within the game that they might be struggling with, or they just need help, like they're trying to get a certain item or something like that. She will actually like help people out. And I know you started doing that a couple months back, like really heavy.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not the first and I'm not the only one to do it, but
Mhm.
there is definitely a need in the in the community for that kind of service. So a lot of the people in the Destiny 2 category, there's a lot of PvP players that
Mhm.
are trying to help people, reaching 5,500 in comp, right?
Mhm.
There's a few others like myself that have been doing it longer, been doing it more. Red Queen
Mhm.
is one. James Work is another. Both amazing, amazing streamers, very kind, helpful people. So I kind of got the idea from them,
Mhm.
because they can only do so much at one time. You have a
Yeah.
bunch of people waiting in queue like I even experience it myself. Every Sunday I do Sherpa Sundays where I try and take new people through raids.
Mhm.
I take the time to explain, make sure that everyone gets the mechanics, teaching and
Mhm.
guiding. And there, have been a few Sundays where like I can't get through everyone by the
Mhm.
time that I need to, in my stream and go do other things like in real life. I can get to everybody. So
Mhm.
I kind of noticed that, there is this hole in the community that
Mhm.
needed to be filled with more people like that. So they kind of inspired me to provide that service. So every Sunday I will have my core group of like four,
Mhm.
right? Because there's six people that can do a raid. So I have four people that are with me that know the mechanics and they can help kind of explain any gaps that I might miss.
Mhm.
And then I have, so I've been using Streamlabs chatbot
Okay.
for a really long time. And built into it is a queue system. So all I have to do is set up a basically like a keyword in
Mhm.
chat, so people can put the keyword in chat and they're instantly put into the queue.
Okay.
So it helps keep me organized, and I can be like, hey, this person and this person are next. And if they don't respond, I could be like, okay, then this person and this person are next. And
Yeah.
then if they come back, I'm like, okay, we'll bump back to you, and kind of do it that way.
Mhm.
So yeah, and those are actually my busiest days of the week, or when I'm doing raid helps. So it's been very, mutually beneficial. Like it's good for me because it
Mhm.
brings more people in, but it's also good for the community because there's a lot of people who don't raid because they don't want to deal with the LFG
Mhm.
Discord or the LFG in the app, because there's been so many horror stories
Yeah.
of people who go through LFG and they're like, well, these people were yelling at me because I didn't have a certain weapon and they were
Mhm.
just really mean. And we were at the boss for like 2 hours and everybody gave up. And I want to try and make rating as positive of an experience for people as I can,
Mhm.
because it can be very stressful. Like I've definitely had raids where like people just don't listen.
Mhm.
They just actively kind of like goof off, and it's like I want to get this done. I want, literally five minutes of just like you being serious so we can get
Mhm.
this done.
Yeah. No.
So yeah, I get the frustration, and that's kind of what I've been trying to um, fix, if you will.
Yeah, and no, and maybe it's because the Destiny game itself is set up for that system, but you see a lot of streamers, and it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying a lot of streamers do like sub Sundays or like they'll play with viewers. But from a business aspect, right, it's really beneficial for what you're doing and other streamers in the Destiny 2 community are doing, because not only will people come to you now because A, like you're entertaining or authentic, like all the intangible stuff that most people come to a streamer for, but now it's almost like you're providing a service. So you're catching two groups of people. So like
Right.
you might even get viewers who maybe wouldn't come to your stream all the time just to come to it, but they're coming to it because you provide a service, so that helps you, with
Right.
everything. Um, which I've really liked since you started doing that. I don't know. I've never seen that in any other game. Like I watch, I mean, you know me, I watch like, I probably have 10 tabs open a night that I'm cycling through, and they're
Yeah.
all in different games. And I've never really seen another game that does that actively. Like obviously there's onesies and twosies of streamers that do it, but because I
Mhm.
think Destiny 2 is so built for it, like as far as providing a service to the viewer to help them out, like besides just playing with them, from a I guess from a business aspect, the best way to put it is it's really nice. And the authentic aspect of it is like you genuinely want to help these people out and grow the community as a whole.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the game kind of fosters that because it's it's kind of like a MMO FPS hybrid, right?
Mhm.
There's a lot of looting that's going on. There's a lot of activity, like a lot of fire team activities, especially
Mhm.
that, if you're god tier, you can do it solo if you really like want to. Like there's
Yeah.
a few things, like there's a few raids that I've done solo just to challenge myself, um, for teams that are meant for six. But for the average person, there's a bunch of people that have full-time jobs, they have kids, they
Mhm.
have 2 hours maybe, if that, a night to be able to play, and they don't want to spend it struggling in an LFG group the entire time and not being able to get it done. So
And Destiny's a game that almost has like chores is the best way I can put it. Like you have to get on at certain times and like hit certain benchmarks and do certain things to pick up certain items to upgrade your gear or weapon or what have you.
yeah, yeah, there's a lot to it. So, I generally like, and I started this attitude a few months ago. Like, if there's anything I can do to help other people that don't have the time to put into the game like I do, like I have literally all the time in the world
Mm.
that I need to put into the game. And I do things on my own time. Like I do, whatever it is I need to do.
Mhm.
But over time, I kind of realized, I had a bunch of people asking me, like, hey, can you help me with this 980 Nightfall? Can
Yeah.
you help me through the dungeon? Can you help me with this? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I can. I would love to help you.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just kind of started to take a little bit of a change in attitude from being like more of a personality streamer
Mhm.
to being someone that, I mean, obviously, I still do my personality thing, whatever, but I open it up to try and help people reach their goals. And I think that that has made me more successful than just, relying on my personality alone.
Yeah, and we were talking about this before the podcast, obviously, so it's easy to repeat. Is like one thing that drew me into you when we because there's also one other game that you didn't mention. We don't have to go into right now, but Warhammer was another game that you played a lot. You didn't grind it
Yeah.
as much as you did other stuff, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I remember like you have a naturally like calming personality. Like you're easy to
Mhm.
like watch, and it's not other people that have the same personality type as you can actually come off as boring. Like I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just like not
Yeah.
entertaining. But like you have a naturally like when someone talks to you, and again it's gonna sound corny. There's no other way to say it. When someone talks to you for the first time in stream and chat, like it sounds like you like know the person. Like you're like all right. This your natural verbiage, your body language, inflection, your voice, everything. You make it sound like you're already friends, and that's a really good thing. So for you, it's easier for you to have this platform where you're helping people because your whole catch isn't like a courage or something like that where it's like you're just trying to be overly entertaining and like this
Yeah,
grabbing personality. Like you have a calming, inviting personality, so it's easier for you to have that platform where you're just helping people. You know what I mean? Because you don't have to
for
focus
sure.
as much on like, am I going to get a good stream clip tonight that I can post on Twitter? It's going to make people laugh. Like that's not what you're focused on, which is nice.
Yeah, yeah. One of my friends put it really well, actually. We were in the middle of some raid, I think, and then someone was, really upset because they had messed up. And I was like, it's okay, don't worry about it. Let's just run it back. It's fine. And she's like, oh my God, you sound like you would hold my hair when I'm throwing up. Like, that's so soothing. And I was like, ah.
You do sound like someone that would do that. I'm not gonna lie.
She's like, I know you would hold my hair if I'm just throwing up in the toilet and just like calm me down. I was
Oh
like,
my
yeah, I
gosh.
mean, that's just my natural personality though. Like,
Hmm.
I've just always been kind of like just myself, I
Hmm.
guess. I never felt like I had to be overly entertaining or overly energetic or, some annoying, like, oh my God, and this is what we're gonna do today. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
myself. Like, you can take it or leave it. That's kind of always
Hmm.
been my attitude. And I think that that's kind of what has helped like bring me the success that I've had so far
Hmm.
is because, and I will tell every streamer this, like every aspiring streamer, like be authentic,
Hmm.
be yourself. Like, am I a little, over the top sometimes? Yeah, it's because I get hype.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a little hype and they're like a little crazy sometimes. But yeah, I've just always been myself. And I think it also kind of helps that I had a bartending background. Like I bartended my way through college.
Yeah.
And so I got really good at relating to other people and
Hmm.
talking to them. And I mean, I would get some people that would come in on the worst day of their life and all they wanted to do was have a beer and just like let it out.
And
And
vent
I
to
would just
somebody.
sit
Yeah.
there and I would listen. And that's all you need sometimes.
Yeah.
You just sit there, you listen to people, you give them feedback. Like one thing that I try to do is just remember something from each person that, comes into my chat.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a few people I'll be like, hey, how's school going for you? I know you're working on engineering. How are your classes? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, I know that your mom was sick recently. How is she feeling? Is everything okay? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just try to foster that whole like community environment and
Mm-hmm.
try to just be a person to
Yeah.
them.
Exactly.
There's so many streamers that are so disconnected from their audience and they don't even look at chat.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're good at the game. They don't really have to try that hard
Yeah.
to keep people engaged. And I've seen this said multiple times about my stream, and it's something that I really pride myself on is that I respond to pretty much every comment that comes into my chat.
Yeah, you
Any
do.
person that comes in, like I'll be like, I'll read it out loud, I'll respond to it, and then I put that away and I remember it for the next time,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Which is a
So
skill to have, because I'm glad you can do that. There's no way, like, I'm not good at that. Like, yeah, I think you have a natural ability to do that, which is really
yeah,
nice.
it can be
Um,
tough. It can be tough
yeah.
for sure. But,
Mm-hmm.
I do my best to try and foster a friendly environment to other people and try to make sure that they feel valued
Mm-hmm.
and that they feel like they're a member of the community and like they're noticed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes that's all people really want
Yeah,
is they just
exactly.
want to be noticed. They want to talk to someone and they want to be heard.
Yeah, and I've told people this before, and this is for anybody listening, is like, one, what she's saying sounds super simple, and everybody's like, it's not that easy, and it actually isn't that easy. Like,
It's
sometimes
not.
it's really hard to be authentic and like yourself. Like, I've always told people, and I've told this on my couple YouTube videos and stuff I've put up, is I'm extremely introverted, like unreal introverted. I have no problem conversing with people and holding conversations, because
Yeah.
that's not what introverted means. But I get like exhausted talking to people. I get super nervous. I get extreme anxiety. So like, talking to people in chat, like you talked about wanting to be noticed, like being able to talk in chat, like that's Twitch streams, and like talking over the internet is one of the few places where I feel completely comfortable to talk. And it's not because
Yeah.
like I'm hiding behind a computer screen. That's why I've always told people, like, technology provides people that are really bad in regular social situations
For
the
sure.
ability to like express themselves properly in a like digital situation. Because like you put me in the middle of a party, I will sit in a corner and not talk, and it's just because that's how I
Yeah.
am. Like, I'm not that type of person. So like, going back to
Yeah.
what you said about just wanting to be noticed, like when you say want to be noticed, it's not a bad thing. Like, it's not people like begging attention.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
people like wanting to be noticed in a good way. Like, they finally can feel comfortable talking
Yeah,
to
I mean
somebody.
that in the most positive sense
Yeah,
possible. Like
exactly.
people like you just want a human connection.
Mm-hmm.
That's the entire reason that I got into streaming in the first place, right? Because going back to what I said, living in Ohio, being alone, having no friends, no family, like that was my human connection, and that kind
Mm-hmm.
of saved my sanity in a way because, only talking to your cats and your dog
Yeah,
for months
exactly.
on end can like drive a person crazy, right?
Oh, I will
So,
gladly, I'll gladly just talk to
yeah.
my 4 dogs for the next 2
No,
years
and
until I
there's
get.
nothing wrong with that. But it's
No,
like,
yeah.
and ironically, I am actually kind of socially awkward person in like IRL, kind of introverted in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, probably ambiverted, I guess. Like sometimes
Ambivert's a
I'm
good
like
way. Yeah.
super in the mood for people, and other times like they just exhaust me and they drain my energy,
Mm-hmm.
and I just want to be alone and play Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
So so yeah, but no, sometimes I can be like super super awkward in like real life situations.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been very helpful for me like developing my conversational skills more
Mm-hmm.
by being able to do that over the internet, like indirectly with other people. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, it definitely helps. Like I said, I think our generation is. I've had a talk with my friend Patrick, when we were talking like videography and like technology as a whole. Is our generation, our parents' generation, there's a disconnect with, they think technology. Not all of them, but a lot of people think technology
Yeah.
is like a bad thing for communication, and I just
Yeah.
think we haven't figured out how to use it yet. But I think between like us and then our kids, those two generations will figure out like the actual benefits to communicating through technology and figuring out how to communicate through technology. Like when I see two people sitting on their phones at a dinner table, like, yes, do you want to interact with each other? Sure.
Yeah.
However, like I don't like the negative stigma that's put on communicating through technology, because I feel like it actually benefits people in a lot of ways sometimes.
Yeah, I think there's a balance,
Yeah.
honestly. So, like going back to your example, two people sitting at dinner across the table from each other on their phones. Like,
Mhm.
I think I just feel kind of sad about it
Mhm.
because, if you're face to face with someone, you should be face to face with them. Like, you should interact with them. Like, when I'm out with my friends, for example,
Mhm.
I don't touch my phone. I don't bring it out. I just put it away because I want to have that interaction with them, be present with them in the moment.
Yeah.
But that being said, if you're not face to face with people, I think it's an amazing way to interact. Like,
Mhm.
it makes you feel so much less self conscious, so much less like lonely.
Mhm.
You can express yourself more freely. And I think that it's really good in that sense. I mean, I forget what the name of the documentary was, but I watched this document. I mean, this is like a few years ago.
Yeah.
There's a documentary where there was this kid with severe autism, like could not talk to people face to face,
Mhm.
but he was able to have like electronic communication with other people, and he ended up having like pen pals. And so it was a way for him to communicate with other kids
Yeah.
and grow, as a person and grow socially without having to have that face-to-face interaction where he literally like could not find words to talk to people.
Mhm.
And I thought that that was just so cool. They're using technology to help this kid out, and
Mhm.
it's definitely, I think, something that's going to become more important in the future. But on the flip side of the coin, we also need to be more careful and aware that it doesn't completely take over our other avenues of communication.
Mhm.
You
No,
know, and
I totally agree. There is a balance. Hopefully, as and like I said, I think the tail end of our generation, the next generation is gonna truly learn how to balance it correctly. I just think I think back when I was 16, like I had a flip phone, and
right.
now like a 12-year-old can have an iPad and know how to use it like better than a 25-year-old. Like it's
Oh yeah.
the advancement in technology from like 1995, 98 time frame where like Windows started becoming a thing to now
Hmm.
is like night and day. It's unreal. The invention of the internet just like changed everything.
For sure.
But yeah, so wow, that was a really good conversation.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of good things. One thing I wanted to bring up, and sometimes it's hard things to talk about. I know me and you've had DMs, especially when you were pushing for partner,
Hmm.
for challenges that you faced as a streamer. So overall, I'm sure you had a couple different ones. Maybe ones that you are willing to share, not willing to share, but maybe some that other people listening to this can resonate with. So like, what were your main challenges? What, like, from the point you decide like, hey, I want to start doing this, maybe work towards getting full time at it, until now, and things that you think people would like to know.
Yeah, no, the first one, honestly, that comes to mind is trying to be a variety streamer. So I
Mm-hmm.
try to do the variety thing. I would play a different game, every couple days. I would kind of rotate through, Overwatch, Destiny, Lawbreakers. I did Stardew for a while. I did Warhammer Vermintide 2 for a while. And I feel like that definitely stagnated
Mm-hmm.
my growth a lot. And it really sucks because you want to play all these different things and you want to think that people are there for you specifically, and some of them are. They
Mm-hmm.
are. But ultimately, and it's just the sad reality of the business, the game matters more than you do,
Yep.
if that
No,
makes sense.
I 100% agree with that. Just to like add on to that is I think that like I've had this discussion with people with 20 viewers, and I've had a discussion with someone with 500 viewers.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, like in my opinion, there is not you can't try to tell me a true variety streamer that's huge right now, because I will come back with you that they probably actually aren't a variety streamer. What it was is they played one game like 70% of the time, 80% of the time, and then
Yeah.
they trickled in other games, which I've had this conversation with other people. I think the only way you could be like quote quote a variety streamer is if you play one game like 4 or 5 days a week, and then
Hmm.
do like kind of how Jaden does, Cecil Morch does like Siege
Yeah.
Sundays or something like that, where you slowly trickle in other communities and then you keep building it, keep building it, keep building it to the point where
Yeah.
maybe you can turn the leaf and actually become a full-fledged variety streamer because you have like 3 or 4 communities mixed in.
Yeah, the only one that really comes to mind, honestly, is Admiral Baru.
Okay.
Um, he is truly, I think, the epitome of a variety streamer
Hmm.
because I see him playing some different stuff like all the time, and it's
Yeah.
great. It's great, you know. He's found success with it. He's very very entertaining. He's good at what he does. He has the cutest emotes on Twitch, I'm pretty sure,
Hmm.
which helps. Um, but yeah, no. So starting out as a variety streamer, I would say just, you know, if you're starting out streaming, just stick with what is successful for you. Like I enjoy Destiny 2 a lot. I
Hmm.
truly do. I love the community. I love the game. But the main reason that I stuck with it for so long is because that's where my audience is.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. Yeah, if you stopped
literally just
streaming Destiny
yesterday.
tomorrow, like you would, it not in a bad way. You would have people come back. I still think you would average around, like if we're being 100% honest, I still think you would average around 50, 60 viewers, no matter
Yeah,
what you played. But
yeah.
your viewership would cut in half, like if you just stopped Destiny.
No,
Like that's just how
literally,
it is.
just yesterday, I started with Destiny, and then I ended with an hour or two of Stardew Valley.
Yep, I
And
hopped in there.
quite literally, it cut in half. I went from 120 people sitting in chat to about 60.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's just kind of a sad reality. Like like I said before, people are there for the game more
Mm-hmm.
than they are there for you. There's some homies that are there
Yeah,
for you, and
and
it's awesome.
you
They're
can't
cool.
blame them. Like I mean, if I don't know
I
the
can't.
person, like you people, there's like a handful of streamers that I would watch no matter what they're playing. Like you, Jaden, Moosey, Wavy. Like there's certain people like no matter what you guys are playing, I'll watch you
Yeah,
because I know you guys. Like, but other people like I know some streamers like that I watch. I can't think of it off the top of my head right now. It's really terrible, but like if they stop playing the game they play, I probably wouldn't watch them. Like it's just
yeah.
how it works. Like you can't blame the viewer for that, honestly.
No, 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 and I don't
Hmm.
blame them at all. I mean, it's just kind of the natural state of things on Twitch. I mean, I'm guilty of it myself. You
Yeah,
know, if I'm
exactly.
watching a streamer for a certain game because they're good at it, they're knowledgeable at it, and then they start playing another game that I'm like maybe not familiar with, but I'm
Hmm.
also like not into their personality enough to
Yeah.
stick around,
Hmm.
then, you know, I'll go watch something else.
Okay.
So it just, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But, you know, you kind of just have to deal with it
Hmm.
and, you know, stick with what you know and stick with what's successful for you and occasionally branch out, see what happens. I mean, there was one stream where I played Subnautica, you know, just randomly on a
Hmm.
Saturday. And I actually had more viewers playing Subnautica than I did like whatever I was playing before.
Yeah.
So on occasion, you'll get those one off like days where, you know, it turns out really well.
Hmm.
But, you know, overwhelmingly, my experience has been that my viewership drops in half.
Hmm.
So I would say anyone trying to start streaming, find your game, stick with it,
Yeah,
build it.
I agree. And that's like for me there's 3 avenues you can do as a brand new streamer. And there's other you can mix and match this how you want, but there's 3 avenues. One, play the most popular game out there, which is like a Fortnite style game, right? Where you're gonna get some viewers, but then there's cons that no matter what you do. Like if you play
There's
a
so
really
many cons
popular
with
game,
that.
if you play Fortnite, right, like you're probably on page 3080 when it comes to
Yeah.
like I have to scroll for 20 minutes to get to your name. The other avenue you can do is you play a really infectious game, community game, like you were saying with Black Desert Online, or like Hanner does RuneScape, which has a huge like
Oh my
supportive
gosh. Yeah.
community. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's not a big community, but everyone that likes RuneScape is probably going to come into your stream.
Yeah.
And then you have the central route, which is kind of like mix and matching both, is what we talked about before. But like you said, I think you just need to go with what makes you happy. Like, yes, if you're trying to make a business out of it and you want to do it, no matter what route you go, if
Yeah.
you're not happy with what you're doing, it's not going to work. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, if you're just doing it to, you know, make a hobby of it,
Mm-hmm.
yo, you do you, boo boo. Good for you. Play whatever makes you happy. If you so happen to bring people in, that's awesome. If you're trying to be serious about it and you
Mm-hmm.
really, really, really want to grow, the best way I have seen it be done
Mm-hmm.
is to find a game that has a, you know, smaller viewership,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and I think that that's partially why I've had so much success with Destiny 2 is because when I started streaming it, over a year ago,
Mhm.
it was averaging 4,000 viewers,
Yeah, this
so
is
it's
before
very
the
easy.
Forsaken stuff and all that.
It's very, very easy to rise to the top of that category,
Mhm.
and then you get noticed, more people come in, the higher you go, and it's there's less resistance,
Yep.
right? If you try to stream freaking Escape from Tarkov, oh my god, is the perfect example. It is like probably one of the most watched categories on Twitch right now.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah,
not going to get
exactly.
anybody. You're not going to get known
Yeah,
whatsoever.
the
Like, there's
it's
no way.
the only chance you have is if like a big streamer just happens to host you and maybe you keep some viewers, but I mean you're literally playing Russian roulette pretty much right there to try to
Like
get
you
that.
said, you're on page 3,000 whatever with like 5 viewers. Like, no one's going to scroll down that far.
No.
Literally nobody.
Yeah, like I
Like,
stream
your
part.
best bet is to just find a lower viewership
Mhm.
game and play
No, I
it.
agree. That's definitely a challenge I think a lot of people face. And I think like that's one of the main ones. But I didn't know if you had any other major ones that applied to you specifically as far as challenges with streaming.
Um, Finding the time and the energy, really. I mean, especially if you're working a full-time job, it's really, really, really hard to, wake up early in the morning. You go do your job. You need to, especially someone like me, like I'm very health conscious. I try to work out regularly. I try to take time to, take care of myself. I have my pets that need my attention.
Mhm.
So I found the quote unquote work life balance outside of my work
Yeah.
was really tough to keep up with. I'd
Mhm.
wake up at 7 a.m., get a quick workout in. I'd start work at 8, get off by like 5 or 6, then I'd have to cook dinner and spend some time with my dog. And at that point it's 8 o'clock and it's like, well, shit, like, do I stream for like 2 or 3 hours, or do I kind of recharge myself? And then
Yep.
so that's why I had that weekend schedule for a really long time, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday only,
Mhm.
because I found myself just running out of spare time without having to sacrifice like my mental and physical health.
Mhm.
And that's another thing I kind of want to touch on is burnout is very real
Mhm.
in this business. A lot of people will go 8 or 9 hour streams like 6 or 7 days a week, and at that point, I mean, you get bored of the game. One, you
Mhm.
run out of things to do, you get burnt out, you feel, mentally, physically just exhausted from having to keep up with chat and having to play the game at the same time,
Mhm.
and never really taking a moment for yourself to just enjoy something.
Yeah, I agree. And like, yeah, you didn't mention that at the very beginning, I don't think, but like for anyone not that is listening, like Mittens stream, you stream like pretty much solely on the weekends with a Friday and Thursday stream, but at the
Mhm.
same time, you were consistent. Like, it's not like
Yes.
you did not skip a random Saturday or skip like you, like because we weren't on Impact, we were on Most Wanted. Please, I have this like hate saying
Bittersweet
that.
before that.
Yeah, bittersweet. I don't like saying either one of those words. It's disgusting. Um, Now, like, yeah, I haven't said those two words together in a long time. Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, because we always had stream requirements. Like, we want our streamers to stream 20 hours a week, and you were only streaming, like, I think at the time, like 15 hours a week. But one, your numbers are good, and two, like, I told people that were working in the orgs, like, she's gonna stream that. Like, she's not gonna have like
Yeah.
inconsistent numbers because she streams at the same time, and eventually you were able to go full time, which was really nice.
Yeah, I think that that's honestly the most important tip that I could give to anyone starting out, other than, finding a, lower number category to kind of shine in, but
Mm-hmm.
just consistency of schedule. Like, the way that always thought of it is like your favorite TV show comes on the same time every week,
Yep.
right? You know that it's going to be there. You're not going to miss it because you're planning for it. So I always considered it, everyone's favorite new Twitch TV show, right?
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to
Exactly.
be consistent. I wanted to be there at the same time, like every week,
Mm-hmm.
doing the same schedule. And I think that that helped a ton because people never had to guess when I was, going to be live. Like, they
Yep.
always knew, okay, 7 p.m. on a Thursday, I'm going to tune in because it's going to be Throwback Thursday and we're going to do something fun, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that that's super, super important, keeping a very consistent schedule. Some people can get away with like just doing whatever whenever, but I
Hmm.
feel like they already have a following that allows them that flexibility.
Yeah,
You
no, I agree. Or it's a false positive where like some people will like argue your point with, well, I'm still growing or I'm still doing this, but like how much could you be growing if you actually weren't doing that? Like,
Yeah,
so it's a hard thing to argue because when it comes to metrics, like sometimes there's no way to like tell you like you're wrong if there's like I can't pull the metrics of what would happen if
yeah,
you weren't doing that. I can give you an estimation, but I can't be like this says you will do this if you were doing it this way. So
yeah.
it's
I mean, in
difficult.
my personal experience, anytime I did an off time stream, like
Hmm.
outside of my usual schedule, it was much slower,
Yeah,
right? Because
exactly.
people weren't expecting it and they already had their, scheduled programming for the time or like
Hmm.
whoever they normally watch at that time slot. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I will preach consistency like all day. I think it is one of the most important things that you can do as a streamer.
Yeah, I 100% agree. YouTube, it's a little bit different, although it is nice to have daily uploads and stuff in that regard. But streaming is a lot different, especially because streaming takes a lot of time for the viewer. Like, I don't think,
Yeah.
I mean, people do realize that, but no one talks about it that like they're sitting down and not doing whatever it is they could be doing to watch you, even if
Yeah.
they just have you tabbed. So, but yeah, those are really good points. And I know one other thing. So in the essence of time, one other thing I wanted to talk about. We talked about before the podcast. As you've grown more successful, you started getting your first sponsor, which is Advanced GG, and I wanted you to be able to talk about it and literally just you can say what it's the same thing you said before the podcast, or you can go deeper into it. But just kind of give people an idea of what your first sponsor is all about and why you chose to go with someone like Advanced.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm actually really excited about it. It's the first sponsor that's like truly approached me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, they approached me, and I had a meeting a few days ago with their sponsorship person. And he kind of, so first, let me just say, I really appreciate the professionalism.
Mm-hmm.
He had, charts like ready and waiting for me. He had all of the information that I needed, just like ready to send it over. So just in full transparency, because I don't really, care who knows or whatever. But
Yeah.
like, so every person that clicks on my reference link, for
Mm-hmm.
example, or every person that uses my discount code, like I get a 15% commission on, which
Mm-hmm.
is huge for me, you know? And it gives me an incentive to keep pushing the product because, if I get a certain amount of link or code referrals per month, then that bumps up my commission.
Mm-hmm.
They also will, send me the product so that I can fairly like try it out and promote it. And there's certain milestones that I can meet, and I'll get other things for that, like a zip up, like a customized zip up hoodie, and
Mm-hmm.
just fun little things. Like it's just things that I can try and work towards myself and push myself in my business. So what really kind of sold me though, and like I told you before,
And
I'm
just
very health conscious.
yeah, just really quick for everybody,
Yeah.
is Advanced GG. I should have levied this. I don't know why I didn't. Advanced GG is like an energy supplement. I guess the best way to put it. Maybe you
Yes.
have a different way of describing it, but
Gamers.
energy
Yeah.
supplement company specifically designed for gamers. So I'm not going to promote other products, but there's other products in the space like that,
Yeah.
so people are familiar with it. But it's like a tub-based energy supplement company. But go
Yeah,
ahead and
it's
go.
similar to a few other products out there like that for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, the thing that really sold me on it is, I was talking to the sponsorship guy. He said that one, the source of caffeine is green tea extract only.
Mm-hmm.
There is no concentrated caffeine like there is in other products.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he's gotten a lot of feedback on it. They literally, by the way, just changed their formula like a few weeks ago,
Oh wow.
and yeah, and so it's a completely different product than it was before. It's like all natural. They have a label of literally everything that's in it on the side. He sent me the label to look over, and like I used to study nutrition in college, so like I
Yeah.
knew what I was looking at, and it looked good to me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that aspect of it, I was like, okay, I can vibe with this. It clicks with me. And I tend to attract a lot of like-minded individuals in my community. We have a whole like health and fitness channel. We
Mm-hmm.
talk about food, nutrition, being healthy, all that kind of stuff. So I was talking to the guy. I was like, I feel like this would be a really, really good fit for not only me, but also my community and the kind of people that I surround myself with. So it would be really easy for me to like promote this product
Mm-hmm.
given the information that I have. Also, I wanted to mention that they're the only one of the gamer energy supplements that
Yeah.
has a published study.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, you told me that
which
before the podcast.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
which I also was like, oh wow, and so I'm gonna have a chance to read over the study and kind of check that out. But I was like, okay, this is legit,
Mm-hmm.
because even the biggest gamer energy supplement company out there does not have their product you know published and studied. So
Yeah,
I was like,
exactly.
that's that resonates with me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That speaks to the quality for me.
Mm-hmm.
But then they also mentioned after that they have a new product that they just came out with that is infused with CBD. So it's called Chill by Advance. And I have not gotten my hands on a tub yet. I will let you know how it goes when I do. But it's supposed to be the opposite end of the spectrum. It's supposed to be, relaxing. It has a lot of those things in it that will help you kind of wind down at night, like the, L-theanine,
Mm-hmm.
valerian, like all that kind of stuff. And then the CBD infusion as well. So I was really, really interested in that because I'm a big believer in CBD for therapeutic reasons. I think that it's the future. Honestly, I
Yeah,
think
I
that
think it's finally coming around. Like one of the guys I had on the podcast, Dr. Blue Jay. He's the social media for Kick CBD, like the gummies and the
oh, cool,
he does
yeah,
the gummies and stuff like that. So you could check. I'll link that to you after the podcast. You actually might
yeah. I
be
would love
interested
to
in that.
check that out actually.
But I think I think like society as a whole, like when it first came out, they're like, oh, it's like when it comes to marijuana in general, and when it comes to CBD, when it comes to all those type of products, right? I think
Yeah,
people are not as educated on it, like on the benefits of it, or like just the
yeah,
practical use of it if you actually use it how it's intended.
yeah,
But CBD, yeah, obviously being in the military, I can't use it. I don't use it, but after I get out, like it's definitely something that I would be interested in because it's
for sure.
I've seen what I'm saying is I've seen the benefits of it firsthand for people like using it properly, and it's really nice.
Yeah, for sure. I have a few friends. One of them specifically has, epilepsy, and it just recently kind of became legal in Florida for medicinal use.
Hmm.
And so, I've seen my friend benefit from it like majorly. It completely, completely turned her life around.
Hmm.
So it's been really cool to see the effect kind of firsthand on someone that I know, and it gives me that validation that like society's wrong. Like I'm not wrong. Like I've seen it. I know it works.
Yeah, exactly.
It's something that I want to back up. It's something that I want to support.
Hmm.
Um, so anyway, seeing a major company like that kind of embrace it,
Hmm.
really kind of push me towards like accepting the sponsorship, if you will. Like,
Hmm.
because I was kind of a little like, I don't know. I don't know anything about your product really.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a little bit of hesitation for the unknown, right?
Especially in this space, like again, I won't say other names, and it's not just one name. Like everybody's thinking the name in their head, but like there's several
There's a
gaming.
few.
Yeah, there's a couple, and there's several I've worked with. So it's hard, and I think yours advanced. It's to me at least, and I've worked with several other ones. Is the only one that's focused this much on health. Like other ones
Hmm.
do say they are healthy, but as far as having a health centered focus, I think Advanced is the only one who's done that.
No,
Um,
yeah, for sure.
so and it seems like they have a really like friendly like marketing plan and campaign as far as like how they promote their product and their affiliates and their sponsorships and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and based on the information that I was given, it seems like they treat their partners well. It's
Hmm.
a fair exchange, if you will.
Hmm.
Me having commission for pushing their product, like it seems very fair to me.
Yeah.
And they're very transparent with all of the information that they give. And that's kind of what I really appreciated about it, and I respect it. I
Hmm.
respect it a lot. So yeah, I just recently partnered with them, and I'm really, really excited
Oh, keep
to
going. Keep going. Go ahead.
and I'm really excited to see kind of how that grows. I've already had some people in my community that have expressed interest in, buying their product. So they're kind of waiting for me to get my first taste of it, and I should be getting my tubs here in the next few days or so. So they're kind of waiting for me to try it and review it, and give them that feedback and that
Mm-hmm.
validation, like, hey, this is actually good. Like, they trust me and they trust my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that that's going to be the biggest thing, is being able to like earn and keep their trust on something that I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you see a lot of streamers that kind of sell out for certain things,
Yes.
and they'll sell products that they don't personally use. Like, you see it all the time. Like, they'll use a certain headset, but they're sponsored by another headset company, and they, promote the product just kind of in an empty way because they're being paid to.
Yeah,
But
and
that's
I've
the most important thing for me, is to like be able to get behind and like truly support something that I'm going to be promoting.
no, I agree. And I think streamers it's hard because like when you talk about a streamer sponsoring something, there's two things. One is it's very, in my opinion, it's very hard to, as a streamer, to commit to sponsor something. Like right now, I'm
Yeah.
sitting in front of a Logitech keyboard, which I love to death, but I have
Hmm.
a HyperX headset on, which I also love. Like HyperX, and to me, makes the best
Oh, for
headsets,
sure.
hands down, not even close.
Yeah.
So like for me, like I would love to be sponsored by HyperX, but at the same time, like I've never tried HyperX keyboards. I'm sure they're great, but like it'd be
Yeah.
hard for me to give up my Logitech keyboard.
Right.
So it's hard to commit as a streamer because your whole platform is face to face. So like you can't hide behind like not supporting a product,
Yeah.
especially if you got into like a monetary compensation deal where like there's deliverables and there's certain benchmarks you have to hit. Like
Hmm.
that's, you can't hide behind that. So it's hard to commit as a streamer. But also, and we've talked about this in DMs before with Impact, sadly. And I know Anthony's okay with me talking about this, but there are certain sponsors that did not go with your platform whatsoever. And like I feel
Yeah.
like your platform in particular, like you're built around authenticity and community. So if
Yeah.
you bring something into the community that does not sit right, it's going to hurt it. It's going to hurt your platform more than it would hurt
Yeah.
other streamer platforms as a whole. Um, Also, from a funny standpoint, for anyone watching on YouTube, my camera randomly fell. So if you're listening on Spotify, you heard the reason you heard "oop" and like keep going was my camera fell. And if you're on YouTube, you just got a good laugh. Like just to add to the authenticity factor of this whole thing,
For sure.
we're 55 minutes in. I didn't want to have to record it, so I'll just give everybody a great laugh on YouTube. So
For
anyway,
sure.
but yeah, speaking to your whole platform, like it just adds to the level of authenticity, being able to have a product that you resonate with as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. I will 100% like never accept a sponsorship and never back a product that I wouldn't use myself and that I wouldn't, feel good about promoting. Like, I'm not gonna be like fake and be like, oh my God, this is the best headset ever, even though it's like a giant piece of shit,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like, I can't do that, man. I can't do that to my community. I can't do that to the people who put their trust in me
Hmm.
to give them good advice and to put them, in the right direction with certain
Hmm.
things. Like, I get people that ask me all the time, like, oh, what's your headset? How do you like it? What's your mouse? How do you like it? What's your key? Like, they ask me about all the things that I use.
Hmm.
And I feel good about being like, yeah, I have this badass Geo 5 Lightspeed that I love because it works amazing, because I love this thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And push it, towards someone, be like, you should definitely buy this product
Hmm.
because I use it myself, and I've had no issues with it. And yeah, I mean, I can't do the fake thing,
No, I can't either. And also,
It's
I have
just
a
not me.
the G703. That's what I just bought, and yeah, I agree. Like they are amazing products.
For sure.
But yeah, so as we're wrapping this up a little bit, but going into advanced, obviously, this is a big progression and a big step for your stream as far as starting to
Yeah.
get sponsors and starting to have your own, develop your own brand. So what, looking forward, what is your future goals as a streamer? Like, what are you looking to do? Obviously, you're streaming full time now, and
Mhm.
there's the implied goals of gain more revenue, gain more subs, build a bigger community, gain more following, which is what everybody wants to do, obviously, no
Yeah.
matter what you are. But what is your future goals and like concept as a streamer as you move forward? Because you just got over the hump of being able to be full time streaming. So like, what's next
Yeah.
for you?
So those are obviously all like my main goals, growing the community, being able to grow revenue, all this other stuff. The big thing for me obviously is fostering a community and a place where people feel comfortable
Mm-hmm.
speaking with each other, forming friendships, being able to ask for help. Like that's the biggest thing, is like it really warms my heart because we have a really active Destiny 2 clan in my Discord, and it warms my heart when someone's like, hey, can you help me run this thing, and I'm not around,
Mm-hmm.
and other people jump in and I'm like, yeah, let's hop into voice, let's go ahead and knock it out. So that for me is like more rewarding than anything else, in
Mm-hmm.
all honesty. Just being able to see people forming those friendships and relationships with each other, and helping each other out and just being good to each other. It's like all that I could really ask for. So growing that would be great. Getting more sponsorships would be great. But honestly, just, trying to grow as a person and as a streamer and as an entertainer,
Mm-hmm.
always looking for ways to improve the stream. I would really love to start, someone brought it up to me, like channel points, right? Those just got rolled out for partners and
Yeah, those are
affiliates.
awesome. Awesome. I like those a lot.
Yeah. So, coming up with really cool incentives to spend them,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, kind of brainstorming for those things would be great. Doing more community nights, like even if it's just we all hop in a voice channel, watch a movie together. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
think that that would be really cool. I want to do more things like that. I would also really love to be able to branch into other games,
Yeah.
obviously. Like we talked about earlier, it's hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
My viewership drops in half, but I think that I'm kind of at the point where I can afford that a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I want to, as much as I love Destiny, some days I get on and I'm like, I don't know what to do
Yeah,
today.
exactly.
you know, it's like I just want to go farm in Stardew Valley. So yeah, kind of making that transition,
Mm-hmm.
I think is a big goal. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that response a lot because I think that it shows, every creator goes through this, whether it's YouTube or whether it's Twitch. Once you have some level of success, you have to balance what your viewership wants you to do and what you want to do. I think a lot of people have that issue, especially people that grow in one game. Like you yourself, as we talked about before in the podcast, you're more of a variety streamer and you grew up kind of as a variety streamer, and then you kind of, yes, you played Destiny, you played Warhammer, and these like a 4 or 5 like core competency style games, but at the same time, you were able to kind of build yourself up in a variety. So now that you are a partner and now that you have the flexibility to do other things, I think it's just, trying to, like I said, balance versus what you want to do, vice in the future, vice, maybe what the main core of your viewership wants you to do.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue, honestly, is that trying to grow as a streamer, like, it's easy to get those first like 10, 15 viewers, if that. I mean, I sat on 15 viewers for months and months, and they're, just my friends coming by and like hanging out. And then I'd gain a little bit of traction with one game, and then I would swap because, I was like, I'm just doing this for fun, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would see those people who would normally come to watch that one game just fall off the face of the planet.
Yeah.
So it's like very discouraging, especially as someone, starting out, because you want to grow and you want to bring in a bunch of people and make like a whole community around you. And it's just so difficult to do that
Mm-hmm.
when the whole community leaves once you swap games. Like you see it all the time. I do Stardew Valley at the end of my
Mm-hmm.
streams, a lot more lately,
Mm-hmm.
just because it's nice and relaxing. And after a long day of grinding and like explaining and talking to people about Destiny, I'm just like burnt out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to farm, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll go from 160 viewers to 60.
Yep.
That's 100 people right there that they literally all they want to do is watch Destiny, which is fine,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also like a slight blow to your ego because it's like, oh, shit, like, are they actually here for me? Or
Yeah.
like, and they are,
Mm-hmm.
in some way, like you're their favorite Destiny streamer, but they still want to watch Destiny content. So then they move on to their next favorite Destiny streamer once you start, doing something else. So it's hard to balance. And I think that anyone trying to seriously grow their stream should kind of shy away from variety gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and again, it's not to like discourage anybody from doing it. It's if you want to grow and that is your goal, you got to stick with what brings you success.
Yep, I agree, and I can't even like to be completely honest. This is coming from someone who's worked with a crap ton of streamers, and I spend more time on Twitch than I want to admit. I can't think of a lot of like really high up variety streamers, like even like Valkyrie, who's probably one of the bigger, I guess, variety streamers out there. Even her, like Fortnite built her, like she was already building, of
Hmm.
course, but Fortnite like exploded her platform. So there's not very many like uber successful variety streamers like on a high level, and I think
Oh yeah.
especially before partner, like like you said, you have to either find one game or maybe two that you just like build yourself upon, and then
Hmm.
afterwards you can change it. And one thing I also want to say to other people, though, from a business standpoint, I think a lot of people that are in this space will understand this is those 50 viewers that drop off. Like, yes, I'm not saying like they have malintent, like they just care about the game, because it's not the case. Like, if my favorite Call of Duty professional started playing League, I'm probably not going to watch him because I'm watching
Yeah.
him because he plays Call of Duty and he's good at it. But from a business standpoint, like when it comes to subs, when it comes to donators, when it comes to people that might support like a product you partner with, like with you
Hmm.
just partnering with Advanced GG, like those 60 viewers that you kept, those are probably the ones that actually are going to like, when you start talking about business, like terms like conversion rate and sales,
Oh
like
yeah.
those are the people that are going to do it. Like when you put in your Discord, like, hey guys, I just partnered with this company, y'all should buy, not y'all should buy, you know what I mean though. Like y'all should
Yeah.
support them.
Hmm.
Those 60 are going to be the ones that probably do it. The 50 that dropped off probably aren't going to, and that's fine. Like it's not a bad
Yeah.
thing. It's just that's your core like business group basically.
No, yeah, I totally agree, and I've seen it. Whenever I partnered with Humble Bundle for
Mm-hmm.
a bit, I partnered with Advance. Like, I had people DMing me like, "Hey, do you have a code? Like, can I use it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yes, please, like,
Yeah.
please do that."
Mm-hmm.
They're happy to support you, and those are the people that are there for you and your personality and your community.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are the people that are active in my Discord, and we literally talk to each other like all day, every day. We have like weird conversations all the time. Like it's just like those are the people that are bonded to you
Mm-hmm.
for your personality because they like you. You know, they
Yep.
like you.
No, exactly.
They're not just there for the game. Like again, the people that are there for the game, they do like you, but they're not as invested personally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think.
Yeah, I
They don't
agree.
feel as included
Mm-hmm.
like in that community. You know what I mean?
Yep, and you have one of the stronger communities, especially for your size that I've seen. I can't think of a lot of people like right now. You're sitting in the 150 to 200 viewer range around that, and for your size, I only can think of like one or two other streamers at your level that have like equal communities, and I think that also speaks to the Destiny community as a whole. I think it's a really tight knit
Hmm.
community, especially in the like last 6 months since the game's really
Definitely.
exploded. Um, but yeah, overall, like just to wrap it up and on a good note is, where can people find you at, to maybe get involved in your community, and if you want to shout out any socials or anything like that before we head on out.
Yeah, yeah. Follow me on Twitter, Mittens Kittens underscore, because for some reason someone stole Mittens Kittens. So yeah, Mittens Kittens underscore is my Twitter. You can find my Discord link there, twitch.tv/Mittens Kittens. I'm live Monday through Friday, except for Tuesdays,
Mm-hmm.
1 p.m. Eastern to about 6 or so. And then on Saturday, Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern to, I mean, pretty much whenever.
Whenever you get tired, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever I get tired of chirping people through raids, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. You grind people through that. I don't know how you do it. I like you've gotten, just really quick before you leave, like you've gotten so good at that. Like you just, there's times where you don't look at your screen for like 20, 30 seconds, but you go through like 8 different things, and I'm like, does she, like, you already know where you're going because you've done these
Oh
things
yeah,
so many times. It's
yeah,
actually
yeah.
insane.
It's all repetition. I'm coming up on almost 100 last wish clears, almost 100 garden clears.
Insane. That's
Yeah, I mean,
unbelievable.
you truly have to love it to be able to do it day in
Hmm.
and day out, And I do, I do.
Yeah, and hopefully the developers keep bringing out stuff like they have the last 6 months, to where it kind of gets people. It's been more than 6 months, but I'm around that, to
Yeah.
get people to really continue to like the game. But yeah, for anyone listening or watching, if you're watching this on YouTube, all the links that she just described, I will have in the description below. And on Spotify, like you said, go see her at Mittens Kittens underscore on Twitter, or as this goes live, you can go to Sama Jamma TV, and I will have all her stuff promoted as well. You can check us out on YouTube if you want all the links listed, just to make it easy. But thank you so much, Mittens, for stopping by with us today. It's been like an hour and 9 minutes, one of the longer
Yeah.
podcasts I've done. Um,
Yeah.
so
Great.
it's been a
Thank you
good
for having
one. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I'm glad I finally got to talk to you about this stuff because it's been
me. For
long
sure.
overdue.
Hmm.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you guys next time on the content workshop. Thanks, guys.